prefer, train travel or boat travel? I'd love to know in the comments, do you like train or boat? So, I'm Dora, Explorer Dora 80. I'm a solo backpacker over 50. If you like the sound of that, you like adventures, maybe hit me up for a subscription. What? Maybe subscribe. But let me answer this question. Boating or training? This question came from Bill Myers from a live I just did this afternoon. So I'm going to answer that in a 10-minute, try to be short and sweet, because I do like to ramble. So this is going to be a new segment that's going to be coming out. I don't know how often, but we'll see. But when I do a live, I'm going to ask you questions that you would like to know about me, about my channel, about my alter ego Dora, about my alter ego Dora, because my real name is Mutiara. So, boat or train? Train. Hands down, train. So, just one time, there's always one time, right? I went to Russia on a train. No joke. It was fantastic. So, let me just go back a bit, okay? 2015. So, 15 years ago now? Yeah, a while ago, right? I was invited to a wedding in Scotland. Long story short, I made that holiday into a 6-month all around the world backpacking adventure, hitting a lot of the places I've always wanted to go. One of those places was Russia. Now, back in 2015, it wasn't easy to get to Russia. I don't know if you've been to Russia. It's amazing, right? But it's not exactly an easy place to get to, especially from Australia, because I'm Australian. But also you had to be invited in. I'm not sure if it's changed now. If you know, put it in the comments, okay? But back then, you had to be invited. So either a family member or a friend invited you to the country, so you got a visa, or you were invited by a tour company. So I was invited by a tour company, as in like I paid for a tour company, so they invited me, right? So, and now this has to go for 10 minutes, so I'm kind of just aiming myself, right? So stop yabbering. So I always wanted to do the Transiberian Railway. You've heard of it, right? It's not a myth. There is a train that goes through from Japan all the way across Russia to, is it Moscow or St. Petersburg? I think it's Moscow. Could get this right. It's been a while, right, guys? And yeah, and it's one of these things, it's like once in a lifetime opportunity, right? It's a once in a lifetime dream. It's a once in a lifetime, it's a bucket list for me, right? Not everyone likes bucket lists, but I love bucket lists, right? So I had a bucket list. Going on the Transiberian Railway is one of my bucket lists. She ticked it off. But I didn't probably do, I did the Trans-Mongolian, which is part of the Transiberian, right? So I went from Beijing into Mongolia. Amazing. You stop off in Mongolia and then you go into Siberia, stop off in Siberia, then you basically travel for like 4 days on a train. A little bit of cabin fever, right? I'm going to be honest. And then you end up in St. Petersburg for a couple of days and then you go to Moscow. So this was part of a tour. It was called the Vodka Train. Appropriately named, right? I was with about 13 other crazy under 35-year-olds. Now, I was 34, on the cusp. I was the oldest. I was like the nana of the group. They were mainly Australians and one American, one British lady. Funnily enough, the British lady, Abby, her uncle is Fatboy Slim. Amazing. I love dance music. So anyway, I digress. So I did this tour because that's the only way you can do it. Normally, Dora just has a backpack and she just gets her Lonely Planet, which I've got a few of them up there, right? One of them is the Trans-Siberian Railway. And, I work it out myself. That is how I do it. And I'm a budget traveler. So again, if that sounds interesting, maybe you could like to subscribe. Could give it a plug. Maybe even like this video. And send me a comment. You don't need to write me a comment. So anyway, I've got 5 minutes. Let's just get this out. So there's like 13 of us. Half of us, most of us are Australian. Australians love a banter. They love a drink. They love a bit of sarcasm. We all got on like a house on fire. It was amazing. And we were all sharing cabins, like for example, 2 or 3, and sometimes there was a 4th person, as in like a stranger. So this is part of the experience, right? They put us in these, they call them couchettes. I think that's what they call them, couchettes. So think about a train. It's like double bunks, and there's 2 of them each side. That's how confined you are. And there's a little table in the middle, and you put your backpacks on the floor underneath the bed. So that's how small we're talking. And 4-day bit from Bikal, which is the highest freshwater lake in the world. Amazing. I was there in April, and the lake was frozen off. It was very cool. It was kind of cold too. And so for 4 days, you had to travel and stay in that apartment, or and stay in that little couchette. It was a little bit nightmarish, guys. You can only imagine the stories I have. One of them was Lauren and I, an Aussie girl, went, having a chat, as you do, down the, the walkways, because, you don't want to stay in your room. It's your cabin fever. And we run into like an older guy and a younger guy. And the younger guy had a bit of a hot to my friend Lauren, but I started talking to the older guy, and he felt like a grandfather. It was so sweet. A couple of hours later, he found us, and he gifted Lauren and I, call those things eggs, fish eggs, caviar. He gifted us his fish eggs, caviar, but from Russia, from like a freshwater lake. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was so salty, so tasty. I don't think I've even really tried caviar. Absolutely, it was like a whole big tub. So we had biscuits. It was such a nice gift. My friend Lauren and the other gentleman, they hooked up. That was kind of nice. I don't know if they're still friends. That'd be interesting to know. He was a doctor, actually. But yeah, the grandfather, it was so nice. We affectionately called him the grandfather. It was so cute. And we would have parties they had like a dining car. We never would spend much time in there because we were all backpacking, right? So all our food was like, cans of tuna in our little cabin, right? And biscuits and 2-minute noodles. We're backpackers, right? We've got no money. We spent all the money on this vodka train and alcohol. Of course, alcohol, right? There's a lot of vodka being drunk. Another really cool experience. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm just remembering so much. And this is why I love train travel, is because you get off at the train, like they would stop for maybe like half an hour. They had a schedule, right? And they would stop for half an hour, so you get off the train and onto the platform. And on the platform, they had big beer fridges. Oh my gosh, there's this beer. I can't remember the name of it. Is it called Bital or Bikal? I don't know the name. Balkan. I don't know. But they got numbers. So 0 means, 0% alcohol, up to 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 is like knock your socks off, right? I think it was number 7. I really liked number 7. It was a blue can. It was so tasty. And we would get off the train, and we would come back with bag loads of beer, because obviously on the train it's expensive, right? So we'd just be drinking beer in our cabins, right? We'd all be in other people's cabins drinking in the hallway. It was it was so much fun. And this one time, we didn't actually understand the Russian, obviously, and didn't understand the schedule. The train came in late, which means that you don't have the full half an hour. You only had like maybe 20 minutes, but we didn't know that. So we are now getting a little bit gamer. We're going off the train tracks into suburbia, so to speak, into like a corner shop kind of thing, and getting, what other things. I think I bought a bottle of vodka. And anyway, we're just like having a look, and there was some funny things. And we're taking photos and mucking around. There was 3 of us, right? Ted, Lauren and I. We're like the 3 musketeers. Anyway, we start, walking back to the train, because we're like thinking about the time. Like, we've got to think about the time, right? And we're walking along. We've got to have bags of, stuff each. Walking along. We started dawdling a bit. Well, let's walk a bit faster. suddenly we see the train moving. Now think about it, guys. Our passport, our backpack, our everything is on that train and it's slowly moving away. We are like, shit, we are running with our bags. Of course, we didn't drop any bags, right? And these bags are going everywhere, cans are going everywhere, and we are frantically running, and they could see us, but they're not stopping the train, right? They're not stopping the train. Nothing stops the train, right? So we are running, and then there's someone at the end of the train, like, quickly, quick. And we are like jumping in, chucking our bags in and then jumping in. We made it, obviously, but that was a really close call. So anyway, all I can say is that was one of the most amazing adventures I've ever had on a train. Where else would I like to go on a train? I would love to do a train adventure in Australia. There's a famous train line called the Garn. It's very expensive. It's kind of very upper market. It's not a backpacking kind of trip. So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know how we're going to make that happen, but we're just going to put it out to the universe, right? And maybe it'll happen. Actually, it will happen. It will happen, okay? Another train is that I did. Oh, I'm getting sidetracked here, guys, because I'm just so excited. The glacier train in Switzerland. Oh my gosh, amazing. The wine glasses were like built on a little slant because the train goes up on a slant. So fantastic. Anyway, enough of my rambling. Train adventure over boat adventure any day for me. What do you reckon? Train or boat? What do you think of my Trans-Siberian Railway or Trans-Mongolian Railway story? Would you ever want to do that? See you guys. Thanks for watching.